All right, welcome everyone to Next Level by Association Virtual. It's always a fun time when you get to hang out with people that you don't get to see that often. And Kelly is one of those people that I've known for many years, and but yet we're very seldom in the same spot at the same time. And this last couple of weeks, I was going through Vegas, and we just kept trying to connect, and we missed each other. But Kelly is one of those people that is truly an expert at what she does. She knows that she knows that she knows exactly what she teaches. And I love that about her, because I think there's a lot of people out there that are, so-called gurus or whatever that teach something that they read in a book once. And all of a sudden now they're an expert. And Kelly is one of those people who's actually practiced it, done it, and continues to do it over and over again. But not only that, but she's taught thousands of people about how to be influential, how to brand themselves, how to create an ongoing ability to stay relevant. And I think that's one of the biggest things. Is I think there's a lot of people that are flash in the pans, and all of a sudden they're not relevant the next year, or 2 years later they're out. And I've seen Kelly for many, many years now, and she has been able to do that over and over and over again for herself and for others. So I'm excited to learn from her, and I hope you guys will too. So Kelly, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I know I was so bummed when I didn't get to see you in person, but we'll do it. We'll do it next time. We'll coordinate in advance.
Absolutely, absolutely. Kelly, I got to start with something that I saw on your Facebook page, because I just got back from visiting my grandson, and he loves jigsaw puzzles.
Yeah.
And somebody had said and tagged you that you had encouraged them to do this 1,000-piece puzzle.
Yes.
That's something that you love doing, jigsaw puzzle?
No, it's really more, it's actually a little bit more of an inside joke. Okay. So my dear friends that live here, and they've been clients of mine for years, and I'm clients of theirs. And, but we've developed, they're like my family here in Vegas. And I always tease them that they work too much. And so they have a puzzle addiction, and they intentionally will not buy puzzles because they have to finish them. Oh. And so one of the kind of jokes is every single year now I buy them a puzzle to force them over the holiday break for them to get this puzzle done. And they're like, no more puzzles.
Oh, that's great. My grandson loves doing his puzzles, and Flo likes doing the puzzle. So the whole time we were there, once the puzzle came out, it was like you could find either one of them sitting at the puzzle. Yeah. So it was pretty fun. But let's talk about this, because you were in Reno before, or Tahoe before, right?
No, I was in the Bay Area.
Oh, in the Bay Area.
I was born and raised in a town called Los Gatos, which is about 15 minutes outside of San Jose, about 45 minutes from the city. And in 2012, after I got divorced, and I'd lived in Los Gatos my entire life, but as you know, I had been flying all over. Actually, everyone thought I was from LA because I was in LA so much. And I just decided that I wanted two things. I wanted, not only did I want to spread my wings and kind of like evolve past where I had grown up, but then in addition to that, I also really wanted, because I was on the road so much, I wanted to be in one of the places, which Vegas or LA, where I was speaking all the time, because I got so tired of being on the road. Yeah. And so I looked at both places, and then I ultimately chose Las Vegas and moved here in 2012 and love it. And it's great because everyone comes through Vegas. Right. So I just I'm tracking, and then they'll, like you and I were trying to connect, or my friend Larry Benet's here today. So he and I are going to go have dinner later. So it's really nice. I get to just pop down to the Strip, visit cool people, and then come home.
I love that. And that's the one thing that's always been an attraction for me for Vegas, is because so many people go through there, but also because you can catch a direct flight from there to almost anywhere versus LA or someplace else. You might have to, make a couple stops. But so I love that. And when you moved there, I was like, oh, that's so cool. And I think we, saw each other a couple of times in Vegas, but we met in LA. And so that was kind of cool. But, Kelly, you have been so influential in helping people connect with other influencers, other influential people. What do you think is the key? If you had to put one or two keys there that you have that help people understand how to connect with another, with a real influential person?
So in business, it's all about relationships. I'm a strategist. So I really, when I work with my clients, I'm helping them solve problems. Whatever that problem is, whether they want more consistent revenue, they want to reinvent themselves, like you were talking about, they want to actually establish a brand presence, an authority brand, whatever the challenge is. And there's lots of tools out there, and there's lots of people spewing tactics.
Yeah.
Like you need a podcast, you need a Facebook group, you need to webinars, you blah 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 blah. No, here's what you need. You need relationships, right? You need relationships, and the way to develop those relationships is by being intentional. I teach a methodology called Collaborate to Accelerate. And Collaborate to Accelerate is all about really like being intentional about the relationships that you are setting and how you go into those relationships with a go-giver mindset. For those of you who have read the book, I actually just interviewed the author of the book, Go-Giver, for my podcast. That's what it really is all about, is you reach out to these people and say, how can I be of service? And people are so blown away by that because no one does that. They reach out with what can you do for me?
Yeah.
Instead of how can I be of service to you? Like, what do you need?
Right. One of the things I find with that, in my course, Connectologies, we talk about a lot of similar things. But one of the things I find out is people just don't feel like they have enough value to even approach someone of influence. How do you suggest people get themselves ready so that they can feel like they have value to bring to the conversation?
So that is so this is actually something I teach in this methodology that I teach, actually. So because you have to position your value, right? You've got to be able to come with something. And it doesn't necessarily even mean, it doesn't necessarily even have to be a business thing. It could be a personal thing. So the first thing is you've just got to come with an open mind of like, tell me about what's going on for you and how can I be of service? That's like number one, straight out the gate. Right. Then the second thing is really looking at like all the assets that you have available to you and being intentional about it. So depending on where you are in your business, number one, the greatest thing that you can do is connect a connector to another connector.
Amen.
That's the number one thing. Like, because when you can connect a connector with another connector, that value is exponential. Yeah. So how do you connect with those connectors? You get in the room. And when you are just starting, I mean, almost every single person that I know that's influential in this industry, I met at a live event. So if you guys are trying to sit behind your computer, and I understand even things now with the pandemic have made it more challenging, you got to get out to live events. Like, that is where the magic happens. Those are when the private, those are when you're having those juicy conversations. People are down in the bar at night, having a cocktail, talking, you really get to know people at those types of events. So things like masterminds, live events, that's where you're going to want to start with those connections. And then really making a list of the assets that you have that you can support people with. Is it introductions to other people? Is it that you run a podcast that you could have guests on, which, by the way, the only reason I even have podcasts is for a strategic partner strategy. Like it's not for anything else than that's like the prime reason for it. Right. So do you have a podcast? Can you invite someone to, some type of stage, virtual or otherwise? What are they looking for? Who can you connect them with? I know one of my clients, Beth, they were at Beth, you probably know her as Beth Schneider. Do you remember Beth Schneider?
I remember the name, but I don't know if we've ever met.
Okay. So she was just recently at a live event for private jet owners. And she sat down next to a billionaire. And now she does real estate investing, but she sat down next to a billionaire. And during this conversation that she had with this billionaire over lunch, he was making some comment about, oh, my grandson's coming to visit in LA over the summer, and I don't really know what to do with him, and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, you know what? Let me just put together a list for you. let me put together a list for you. Now she's got the billionaire's number.
Nice.
And because she is offering him value first, there's something called the Law of Reciprocity, which means that the minute that you go in not expecting anything,
right,
people are then like, what can I do to help you?
Yeah.
So it's about that. So it's either access to resources, access to private events, access to people. Just being of service is really it.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the fact that, like you said, that you're not doing it to get. You're doing it with the knowledge that you do get as a byproduct of giving first. So,
and it may not even be from that person.
Right.
It may not be from that person. It could be from, just because you're out giving all the time, it could be coming back in other areas.
Yeah. So you've dealt with some of the most influential people, definitely in the speaker world, but in all of business environments. What do you think has been the number one? Like, tell us one story where you connected with somebody that really flourished and did something, and tell us how that happened.
Oh gosh, I have so many stories.
You have so many. I know, that's why I figured there'd be one that you maybe.
Okay, so here's a really good one. So when I was so one of the things I'm most well known for, like one of the core products that I'm most well known for, is marketing to millionaires. So I'm the world's leading expert in marketing to affluent clientele for service-based businesses. And so I had connected with someone actually through Larry Benet's, was it through Sang? I don't remember, but I ended up getting connected to another really well-known speaker. And oh, I'm so sorry. Hold on for 1 second.
He's just saying hello.
Sorry, I have my assistant coming to get my girls, who literally opened my office door and came in here and are now sitting on their couch barking. I'm on a live interview. Thank you. Okay, so we're live.
They're just saying hi.
They're just saying hi. They're just, that's okay. Just close the gates so they can't get back in. Yeah, they learned how to open the door because they're smart like that.
Like, wait, a man in the house. What is going on here? Who is this?
They're like, what's going on? I need to see what's going on. It's probably like Attack of the Squirrel up front. I don't know. But anyways, I ended up meeting a gentleman that we ended up doing a bunch of business together. But then most importantly, I got connected to his wife. So his wife is Kelly Ellis, or was Kelly Ellis. They're no longer together. But Kelly is a celebrity that is, I mean, she's been all on HGTV. She's been on, the Design Channel. She is a prominent speaker in the interior design world. Book. I mean, just ridiculous amounts of television. And she and I ended up not only becoming really like best friends, but we've done so much business together over the course of that, over the course of now the last 10, 15 years that we've known each other. So she's been a client of mine. I've helped rebrand her. I've helped her. Now she's living in Europe. And so I'm helping her right now actually do some rebranding and reinventing for the European market. She's introduced me to loads of people. She's put me on stages. I mean, just, it's been not only extremely lucrative, but also I got a best friend out of it. So
yeah. See, and that's what it's about. I mean, those relationships that people get without trying to get something, but just trying to be that service is so valuable. With you, you have been this person that's been kind of iconic in the speaker world, because you put together your own masterminds, because you've shared major stages with other people, but also because of the market that you have, that affluent market. Everyone wants that affluent market. Everyone wants, oh, how can I get that? But I think you've been, and I think you mentioned earlier, one of the coolest things you've done is you've developed a strategy, and you've put together masterminds to help people do that. You've done. Where did the strategy come from, and what is something that someone can do taking the action today, after this, that they can go out and do something today to become more influential in the affluent market?
Sure. So I was born and raised in a very affluent environment. My father was a very successful entrepreneur. By the way, before you start crying for me, and with the world's smallest violin, let me just tell you that he was all about, you need to earn everything yourself. So I am 1,000,000%, like, he was tougher on me than anybody's kids that I know of, right? Like he literally gave me nothing. Like if I borrowed $5 for gas, I had to pay it back with interest, like that kind of hard. Okay. So, but I was raised in this affluent environment, and that's really what I knew. I thought everybody had a private plane. I thought that's just how you got to your vacation homes on the weekends, because that's what I was born and raised into. And that's, we lived in neighborhoods with a bunch of tech CEOs and things like that. So that's what I was used to until I got into college. And then I realized, like, well, I mean, obviously I figured it out before that a little bit, but then it was like a really rude awakening when I got into college. And and then subsequently when I was living on my own, and I was like, oh, we're not in Kansas anymore. Like, I'm on the top ramen diet, and and I knew that I wanted it. For me, it was never about the money. It's about the choice. I want to live from a place of choice. And that's really, I think that's my life purpose, is to help people live from a place of choice. And so I think entrepreneurship puts you at a place of choice, because now you get to design your life and your business in the way that you want. I think that when you're marketing to a more affluent clientele, that puts you in a place of choice, because now you're dealing with a whole different caliber of individuals that have a different buying mentality. They are not that have a whole different buying mentality, that do not have they're not operating at all from a place of fear. This is a great market for them. They are looking to expand and take advantage of the immense opportunity that is going on in front of us. So for those of you who want to get more into that market, like just really the core thing is your positioning. You've got to understand them, right? Because they do buy your affluent buyers buy very differently. Yeah. They are not about all the BS. They are about relationships. They are about a high level of service. They are about convenience. They are about like, they're busy. That's number one thing. And you've got to understand your affluent consumer. You have to, because if you don't, you will not be able to market to them. And 99% of everything that's taught out in the marketplace is all about mass marketing to the masses. Right. And that will not work with them. So all of those like internet marketing strategies, all of these, like, because again, they're busy. Like, they're not sitting around surfing Facebook. Right. They're not sitting around scrolling on LinkedIn. This is why you don't see Ferrari commercials on the Ferrari's not going to advertise on TV. Right. It's not. Right. That's not what's going on.
And I think that leads to another subject that we touched on briefly, this whole state of the union, this whole state of the state, this whole everything, right? You've really done the research on the market. What's going on in the market today, not what happened 10 years ago. Yep. Why don't you give us some of that, because you've got some great insights.
Sure. So one of the things that I do, guys, is being a strategist, I have to stay on top of the markets, and I stay on top of the markets so that my clients can make educated decisions to make sure that they are accelerating in their businesses. Because as markets change, we need to micro pivot our strategies. So if when we first went into the pandemic in 2020, obviously, like, no one knew what was going on, and we were in a big shock, right? Like, obviously here I'm sure you people internationally, everyone here in the United States, it all shut down. I was literally delivering a live event when the shutdown came down. I was live teaching at my country club here in Las Vegas, and they're like, it was like on every 30 minutes, they're like, we're still open. Okay, now we're shut down. Yeah. Right. In the middle of the event. So in 2020, I think that we all just were a little gobsmacked and stunned, and no one was prepared. And then we also didn't know, like, is this going to last 6 weeks? Is this going to last 90 days? And then what happened is in 2021, everyone was like, okay, well, this is kind of the new normal. And so everyone started to adjust to the fact of this isn't going anywhere, right? Now we need to reinvent. Like, so spin out and stunning for the first, for 2020. Right. 2021 was about like, okay, we need to figure our things out. And then what's happened is in 2022, people were like, okay, this is the year, like everything's going to go back to normal. No, it's not, right? Like there is no normal anymore. There's a new normal. And so what's happened is that we are still seeing a large portion of businesses failing to respond to the market. And they're trying to still use the old world marketing tactics and their old strategies and their old business models to compete in this market. And it doesn't work at all. So if you'd not already pivoted, you can do it now, but you're just FYI, you're like super way behind the 8 ball, right? So here's what we know. People are still uncertain. Customers are wary. They are spending though. They are spending. They're guarded about their spending, but they are spending and they're doing it differently. So they're not doing it the same thing as they aren't doing it the same as they were before. I'm just going to look at some of my notes here, or some of my notes here, so that we can talk about it. 50%, there was a study by Accenture, and 50% of consumers say that the pandemic caused them to rethink their personal purpose and also reevaluate what's important to them in life. And 42% says the pandemic made them realize they need to focus more on others than themselves. Okay, so that's really important. So we have moved from a very me culture prior to the pandemic, and now people are like, you know what, our communities are important, our extended families are important. People, by and large, they were forced into their homes. For many of us as entrepreneurs, especially those of us who have been doing digital business for a long time, there wasn't that much of an interruption. I think the biggest thing was that a lot of us used to be at live events all the time, and that stopped. But we'd already been doing business online for a really long time. But you have to remember that we are a microcosm of the world. And so many different people are looking at ways of doing life and doing business differently. And it's up to us as business owners to reset strategies and also set new standards for meeting and exceeding their expectations. And so part of that looks like you need to get to know your customers now. They are different. Even if it's the same customers, they are different. And if you don't know what's making them tick, and if you don't know what is what's important to them now, then likely your marketing is going to be off center, right? It's also all about creating experiences. So our customers are forming new habits. They are now like, okay, I'm not going to fight this anymore. Like this is the new thing. So now I just need to adapt and overcome. And so what does that look like to your customer base, right? And so they're looking for very high experiential services. It's no longer about because they're seeking connection, right? They're not able to connect in the way they were before. So now it's up to us to go back and look at how we're providing services to our clients. And really, they want us to deliver on these experiences, and that requires that we reevaluate our entire service offerings. It requires that we also reinvent our marketing. So one of the things that is so important is that consumer demand for brands, because I do a lot of branding work in my organizations. In 2022, people are looking for uplifting, pleasing products and experiences. They are seeking pleasure. They are seeking a better life. So a lot of the mass marketing is always on FOMO.
Right.
It's not working. So if that's your messaging, like you're going to miss out, you're going to miss out, you're going, they're like, what else can happen? I've been missing out for 2 years.
Right.
Like now what? Right. So people are really looking for more uplifting, pleasing experiences that are aligning them to create a better and design a better future for themselves. You also have to remember, for those of you who market to corporate America, or even if you're marketing to entrepreneurs, there's a flood of new entrepreneurs from the Great Resignation, right? All these people that all of a sudden came home and then they realized, like, I don't ever watch my children play.
Right.
And now I'm watching my children play. Now I have a better relationship with my spouse, or I don't have a better relationship, or now I'm stuck here and I better do something about it. People are more in tune with their health and like how they are making sure that their health and wellness is a notch up because of everything that's going around. So with marketing, here's the big deal. And you guys, here's what's so funny about this. This is the exact same stuff I've been teaching all along, because it's very in alignment with marketing to affluent clientele. It's very in alignment. So
it's just now most of us are being forced to do it differently.
Correct.
Yeah,
because the middle market is vanishing.
Right.
Like the market has changed. Like if you are marketing to the masses, a lot of those people are in such financial instability at this point that they're people have had to change careers.
Wow.
I mean, if you think about like the hospitality industry, the medical industry, all these different industries, we have seen more open jobs because people are quitting. They can't find labor.
Right.
Like the whole landscape has changed. In 2022, it's going to be about creating an effective brand. Now, here's what I want to tell you is, if you guys think that branding is like your logo on your website, that's not what it is. The brand, and by the way, it drives me batshit when people teach this wrong in the market. Like it literally makes my it's like fingernails on chalkboard. What your branding is really the strategy of the promise that you're making to the market, and what you stand for, and how you differentiate yourself, and what are the values and attributes associated with you and the work that you're doing in the world. We then take this entire brand foundation and the brand strategy, and then it evolves into a visual picture, which happens to be things like your logo and your website. But if you just hired a graphic designer to put together a pretty website, you don't have a brand.
Right.
You have a website. Right. So now it really is about you diving into that brand and understanding what you stand for and what you want to communicate, and how you're going to position yourself as the go-to authority, not even an expert, the authority in your industry, which means that intellectual property is going to be super important. I have intellectual property in the Marketing to Millionaire strategy, right? No one can touch it.
Right.
No one's been able to touch it since I launched it in 2008.
Wow.
I've got the profitology process, which is my process by which I scale businesses. It's patent, it's trademarked, like no one can touch it. So intellectual property is important. Compelling storytelling is essential. The old ways of marketing where we're spraying and praying, not that it was that effective back then, but I think people felt good because they were getting that dopamine hit of being busy. Yeah. But now it is so much more important for you to really understand your brand, and then through your marketing efforts, be able to tell that story that's going to connect with the story of your ideal client, which many of us don't even know anymore. So that's where it goes back to that. And then the education. So your marketing needs to really be about education. So the average person now is estimated to encounter between 6,000 and 10,000 ads every single day.
6,000 and 10,000?
10,000 ads every single day.
Wow.
They are overwhelmed. And if you look like everybody else, if your marketing is not bold, if your marketing is not truly engaging, if your marketing is not standing out, then you are 1,000,000% invisible, and everything that you're doing is for naught. So you've got to actually be educating your audience and be offering them value that pertains to them. And in this value, what kind of value do you want to offer? Value that provides them the opportunity to create a better life or better business, right? That is so that it gets back into alignment with that. Video marketing, critical. Again, it's always been critical with affluent clientele. Short form video content, super, super, super important. And your marketing needs to be less about your product and more about your customers' needs. That's it. Like if you're sitting there talking about yourself in your marketing, you are dead in the water. And you've got to make sure that your content is, like, for those of you who are using content as a way to tell story, you need to make sure that you understand the overarching importance of overlapping visibility with credibility and authority.
Wait, say that again.
You have to overlap visibility with credibility and authority. Okay. And when you can align those things as a part of your brand message, you are going to have, like, I'd rather like kind of screw all of the, like, I mean, I know internet marketers will be like, she doesn't know what she's talking about. I am less concerned with all these algorithms, and I am more concerned with putting out really epic content that is going to resonate and build relationships with your ideal clients. And then finally, it's about the customer experience. So if you've not intentionally designed your customer experience, now's the time. Like really looking at it from a way of like, what would really make this an epic experience for you? And I use the word epic because that's a main part of my brand. I'm actually doing a conference in June called Epic, for women thought leaders who are disrupting the market. And it is really moving past genius and into like only the epic are going to thrive. Yeah. So business as usual, if you're doing everything that everyone else is doing, it's not epic. It's time to innovate. It's time to disrupt. And it's time to really like get clear in our message, get clear in our customers, and give them an amazing experience in terms of what they need. So that's just a short summary.
As we wrap this up, I want to ask you what epic looks like. So give me a brand that you think is epic today versus who's great, maybe even great in the past.
I think that's such a great question. And here's how I'm going to answer that. And it's not going to be in the way that you desire.
Of course not.
I think that we all design our own epic. I think that one of the things is that we need to design what epic looks like to us. Wow. And so as an example, when I was younger, 10, 15 years ago, I thought that I wanted to be the little female Tony Robbins, and that I wanted to rock around stages, and I wanted the big mansion with the helipad and, all the things. That's what I thought I wanted. Mm-hmm. And then as I'm 48 now, and that is not at all what I want. So for me, being epic looks like living from a place of choice. It means living, it means really having those key core relationships and being able to work part-time, because I do not work full-time by design. Right. So there's lots of structures that I put in place in my life and my business with my team and things like that in order for me to have this really epic life where I can live from a place of choice. Love that. I love the idea that everyone's epic is different. Everyone's epic is different. One of the pillars for next level is every next level demands a different you. Yep. And so, but what's your next level could be completely different than money or anything else. So I love that. Kelly, thank you for sharing all of that. And I want people to be able to stay in touch with you. So we're going to make you a member of the Next Level Association group in Facebook. And so look for an invite today on that. And then, feel free to, comment in there, make comments, respond, post things that you have coming up. If you have something specific coming up, let us know about that. What's the best way for people, other than in the Facebook group, what's the best way for people to reach out to you, learn more about you with your websites and emails, or how do you like to be connected with? So I'm right now, I'm in the middle of a rebrand myself, actually.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you connect with me on Facebook or you connect with me on Instagram and just direct message me, I actually look at those.
Okay. And what are those handles on your Instagram?
On Instagram, it's at official Kelly O'Neill.
Okay.
And you'll see me in the Facebook group, so you'll be able to connect to me.
Yeah, there you go.
There, because I don't know what that one is.
Perfect. Let's see. Jason Cisneros says hello.
Hi, Jason.
Steve Miller's watching on Steve Miller. He's such a great, both of those guys are just quality humans. So look forward to that in those comments. Flo, do you have a question or a thought that you want to make?
Yes, loved what you shared today. Because I am or back in the day, I was so used to lives. And when you said you made most of your connections and built most of your relationships live, I mean, with my lives, they would eat or sample my stuff. Now I'm doing it virtually, and I at least have some people in the audience validating, oh yeah, her stuff is this. Oh yeah, you can use it like this. But how do you do your connections now, since we're going on 2 years now with Zoom and digital?
Yeah, can I tighten that question a little bit? I think a great question for Flo in this case is, how do you take a product that you have to sample to online and let people?
Girlfriend, you break the rules. That's what you do. So one of the things that I've seen done, and this is why I think it's so important that we all get out of our own industries and we look to other industries to see what they are doing. I look to the hospitality industry. I look to the medical industry. Like one of the things that drives me nuts is when we all get myopic in our own industries, and then we're all doing the same thing. It's like when I'm doing branding for a client, I'm looking to every other industry but the one that they're in. Every other one. So one of the things that I saw, just as an idea for you, one of my good friends actually got reached out to on LinkedIn, and on LinkedIn, it was like a dinner party chef thing, and she did a virtual event, and literally they shipped them for free everything that they needed to make a at home, cooking at home, a dish. And then they did this with like 20 people, and all of them got together and they made the dish together. And then there was an upsell afterwards to like, do you want to be a part of this cooking club? And we can all cook together. And I think it was like a couple $100 a month. And they were like, yes. So I think if you can get innovative like that, like how could you send out mini samples, and then, could there be some kind of virtual event around that can help you to sell those products? Does that make sense?
Yes. Perfect.
Like we have to break our thinking to not always look at what everyone else is doing, unless you're looking at it to see what not to do. Like, oh, everyone's doing this. Great. I'm going to move on to something else.
Yeah.
Got it.
Nice.
Yeah, because I did have to do the live cooking demonstrations, or, short of tasting it myself and saying, oh, this is really good. It tastes like butter.
Yeah. And then, and I still at this point, so for me, I mean, I'm definitely careful, but I've started going back out to live events.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will meet people now.
Yeah. Me too. Me too.
I mean, I don't really love going to the strip, but that's a whole different thing. That's about a touristy thing. And it's like the shenanigans, because Vegas is where people come to like basically get into any shenanigans, because they think whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And so that annoys me a little bit, but I still go.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Kelly, once again, I just want to tell you, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate the times we've had together over the years. And I'm grateful to see you flourishing and thriving and continuing to teach other people how to do the same in the midst of, sometimes what may be chaotic times. So I appreciate you very much.
Oh, I appreciate you too. Thank you so much. And please let me know next time you come through.
We definitely will. And look for that invite to the Next Level by Association group.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Take care, Kelly.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.